All right, what's up, guys? It is October 11, and it is day after I went to the Devils game against the Maple Leafs. Disappointing home opener by the Devils, but I think this is one of those games where I think after the initial just disappointment of it all, it's early in the season. It's a game that they just came out flat. You come out flat, and um, you move on from these kind of games. I thought the atmosphere was pretty good, so able to get in there pretty early. The crowd kind of filled up towards the definitely start of the whole new light show or whatever they have, and I thought the place was good. It wasn't. I don't think it was as crazy loud as I thought it would be, but it was pretty good, especially initially. Right when puck dropped, and we can get right into it. I think in the beginning, the Devils came out. They had energy, I think, in the first just couple of minutes. And then I just think right away, so they came out strong, but then right away after like 5 to 7 minutes, maybe not even, maybe after the 5 minutes, a little bit of the sloppiness started to creep in. Not a lot of tape to tape passes. There were mistakes made. I think there were some giveaways, and then there were just some miscues. And I thought initially in that first period, or at least the first 10 minutes of the first period, people had each other's backs. I think Nico had a drop pass that wasn't good, and then I think Hamilton backed him up. There was a couple plays like that. So I thought initially, okay, they're not getting tape to tape, and they're making some decisions that are not the best, but at least they've got each other's backs. But then it just got worse from there, and I don't think the pace was there. I thought energy was good. It didn't seem like they were tired, but it did seem like they were not pushing the puck, quick. The transition game wasn't quick. They couldn't really get in the zone and generate anything significant, right? They couldn't get a lot of really good chances. And then, I think that there was an initial flurry of chances. There were a couple good chances, maybe just 2 or 3 when it was 0-0. And then after that, the Leafs get a goal. Once they scored that first goal, I thought that's when the game really just was starting to turn the tide, with how the Leafs, because the Leafs got off to, they got 2 quick goals, and I just feel like the goals were because the Devils made a lot of their own mistakes. That's kind of my biggest takeaway from this game, was they really shot themselves in the foot so many times in this game. And I don't know how much the Leafs, as good as of a team they are, I don't know how much the Leafs dominated the game as it was the Devils really not playing well. And the Leafs just taking advantage of those just moments when the Devils couldn't get it out of their zone. They couldn't make the good passes. They were leaving guys in good scoring chances. Weak stick checking, weak on the body, not a lot of physical play. The pace wasn't there. The speed wasn't there. Just not a whole lot of good stuff from the Devils, especially comparing it to the Prague games. I thought that's what was interesting to me, was how different the team looked. But again, having time to think about it, it's the first game home. It's game 3. There's still 2-1 of the season. And it's really, really, really early. I don't think there's any. It's not like they've showed a pattern of this just yet. So, Leafs come out fast, 3 quick goals. Devils get that late goal in the first, get that, at least got something. And there was some energy in the building. And then once they got that going into the second period, and then I think what just really deflated the fans, and I was sitting up top, and I think what deflated the fans, even in the beginning of the second period, it was still 3-1, was these missed passes, decision-making on the passes. To me, the decision-making on the passes was what confused a lot of the people in the crowd. Was why are they making the passes? There was a play, I can't remember who it was, but it was essentially a 3-on-2 on a rush. They had a break. They had the rush, I think it was loose puck or something. And instead of just going in, barreling through the net, crash the net, or at least just getting a shot off on the rush, the Devils player does that pivot. He spins around and then tries to feed it back, and then there was not really anyone there. And it's plays like that where the crowd just wants a shot and momentum. And again, we're not the players, they are, and they probably see something or doing something that we're not aware of. That's completely fair, but it's just when you're not getting any opportunities on net, like it didn't make sense to me, at least, as to why they would pass up a chance when they have speed against the defenseman, right? They have speed against the Maple Leafs defenseman, and it's a 3-on-2 essentially. And you have an opportunity to push the pace here and come a little bit more aggressive and faster on a goalie who's playing his first NHL start, right? And instead, they try to slow the play down in the zone, in the O zone, to let the Leafs come in and additional players come in. And then the Leafs, I thought, did a really good job of kind of collapsing in on the house area of the net and protecting that, because I think that's where, at least in the first two games, the Devils generated good opportunities and was able to tire out the other team, the Sabres, was when they spent a good amount of time in the box, in that zone, in that house. And that's where good chances happened. And the Leafs were able to really protect that place well. So it was tough. And I think just a lot of self-inflicted mistakes here. Second period, they came out like, again, they go down 4-1. I thought, I'm not big on calling anyone out, and this isn't even a call. I just think it's more like an observation here of, I thought Dawson Mercer had a rough game. And I think he's a guy that probably knowing him, or as seeing him in interviews and things like that, like he probably would be harder on himself than anybody else, right? But I thought he had a rough game. You look at the third goal, didn't chip the puck out strong enough. Look at the Tavares goal. He didn't really put any sticks and bodies on Tavares there. There was a couple plays where he gave the puck away, didn't really take care of it. Decision making on the pass. It wasn't really a like a good play in terms of just overall play by him. I thought was tough. He had a tough game, but so did a lot of them. I don't think, even Markstrom, I thought the second goal, was it a third goal, where it was just a straight shot. There was no tip. There was no nothing. You could say that, Seamus Casey was in his way. But he's a big dude, and it looked like he made the save off the puck, and he was leaning this way. Shot went glove side. Difficult one. I thought the third goal, I think that's the second goal, but I think the third goal where it goes up top here, he was maybe, I don't know how that one goes in. He's such a big goalie, and then, Jack Hughes, I feel like, was trying to do a little too much sometimes, where he could have just made the easy play, but tries to stick handle too much and then keep the puck too much, and then that's when three players collapse in on him, and then he doesn't do anything more with it. Then it's, turnover goes the other way. Just a lot of those kind of plays happened, and I feel like just so many of those self-inflicted mistakes would basically cost the Devils, right? And there's not a whole lot much to say on this game, and I think it's just one of those, you move on and it's whatever, game 3. But I think the change, I think, moving forward, and one thing to look out for is this, having these things be a habit, and having these things be part of, having things happen consistently. That's not something you want to see, these consistent mistakes, because you definitely want more of a, stronger play. Like, look at what happened with the Prague games, where they were fast paced. Everything was just tape to tape, good decision making. It's not always just about making the fastest decision, even though I'm talking about pushing the pace, but it's the good decisions will help push the pace, right? It's not just about trying to do any play or just trying to do everything, right? I think it's more so about trying to make the correct play and take it, one step at a time there. And then, it's, I think, and Hamilton had a bit of a rough game too. He gets laid out, and then he gets kind of stick handled around or whatever, I think, in one of those. But overall, honestly, as a fan, I'm not too concerned. It's not one of those where it's panic mode by any means. We're, again, literally game 3 of the season, but I do think that there's a lot of mistakes to clean up. But one thing I am optimistic about is I do like the type of coach right now that I'm seeing from Sheldon Keefe, in terms of, he acknowledges the mistakes. He sees it. He's talking about it publicly. He's not shying away from it. He's not covering up for it. He's not saying that they played well when clearly they didn't, and I feel like he's going to coach the team hard. And one thing too I like is that he has experience coaching really good, talented young players and building them into something that's a really good team, like the Toronto Maple Leafs team, right? Like from all the guys they've had over the years, it takes, and they've made, I get it, not a lot of success in the playoffs, but they've made the playoffs. They've been a team that's really good and high expectations. So he knows what that's all like, and he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna hold the guys accountable, and I think all the players know it too. I think everyone knows that they probably can come out better and stronger. So I'm pretty, optimistic for it. Disappointing home opener, but I'm not concerned, and I hope Devil fans are not concerned, because this should just be a game you kind of burn the tape. You just watch it once, then move on, and they got the Capitals next. They got the Utah Hockey Club after that, and I think they got a tough situation with the Capitals, because they are a wagon of a team, but I think they'll be, they'll be fine. They've got a lot of talent, and again, if anything, the Prague games have showed us is that there's such good potential with this team and these guys that, and they're young. Again, even the new guys like that, they're a young group, and I think they'll be able to turn this around. So tough game, but optimistic for what's to come.